Let's jump right into this. Welcome to another explainer. Today, we're decoding one of the most counterintuitive, just totally fascinating paradoxes in Indian marketing history. Quick question for you. What's the very first thing that pops into your head when you think of an antiseptic? I'm willing to bet it's Dettol. Almost definitely Dettol. But the case study we're looking at today, well, it should honestly keep every MBA student up at night. Let's get into it.
So look at this. Savlon is clinically proven to be more effective than Dettol. It literally doesn't sting. And let's be honest, it smells way better. By every single objective measure, Savlon is the superior product. Yet Dettol absolutely dominates the market with a staggering 85% share. While Savlon, it's sitting way back at just 13%.
Which brings us to a massive puzzle. We have to solve this. How exactly does a demonstrably better product lose so incredibly badly? How does a superior, pain-free formulation get completely crushed in the open market? Well, the answer lies in the almost terrifying power of positioning.
To solve this mystery, we're going to break down brand positioning using this 5-step roadmap. What is positioning, the Dettol story, Dettol's masterstroke, perceptual maps, and we'll wrap up with key exam takeaways.
All right, Section 1. What is positioning? Let's decode the theory. The foundation of this entire mystery comes down to marketing legend Philip Kotler. He defines positioning as arranging for a product to occupy a clear, distinctive, and desirable place relative to competing products in the minds of target consumers. Now, read that carefully. Positioning isn't what you do to a product in a factory, not at all. It's what you do to the mind of the consumer. So, the crucial takeaway here is that your positioning absolutely must rest on these 3 pillars. It has to be clear, meaning the consumer instantly gets what you stand for, no instruction manual needed. It has to be totally distinctive, meaning nobody else owns that specific real estate in their brain. And finally, it has to be desirable. They actually have to want what you're putting out there. Now, if you're an MBA student, you know this is the ultimate culmination of the STP framework. You've got segmentation, which tells us exactly who's out there in the overall market. Then targeting, pinpointing who we're actually going after, and positioning. That's the critical third step, where you decide exactly how you want that target audience to perceive you. And you know what? The Dettol versus Savlon story is hands down the best example of this step in action.
Moving on to Section 2. The Dettol story, a battle of perceptions.
50 years. Let that sink in. That is the massive head start we're talking about here. See, by the time Savlon arrived in India in 1993, Dettol had already been living rent-free in Indian households for over half a century. From day one, Dettol anchored itself to these incredibly powerful concepts: protection, trust, safety. Even that sharp, distinctive smell, completely deliberate. It became a sensory trigger for cleanliness. Every mom who ever cleaned a scraped knee with Dettol smelled that strong odor and just felt reassured. It simply worked. And the strategic disconnect here is just incredible. Savlon's pitch was purely logical. They came in saying, hey, we're better, we don't sting, and we smell nicer. They were selling objective features. But Dettol's hold? It was entirely emotional. Indian consumers had irrationally associated Dettol's strong medicinal smell and that painful sting with a feeling of deep, serious effectiveness. So when people heard Savlon's pitch about not stinging, what they actually internalized was, oh, you're weak, you don't work as hard, you're not the real deal. Savlon tried to sell a feature. Dettol already owned a feeling.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, Dettol's masterstroke, and how they redefined the rules.
Now, the true genius here is actually in what Dettol didn't do. They didn't panic and alter their formula to make it sting less. They definitely didn't drop their price to undercut Savlon. Instead, they executed absolute positioning mastery by rolling out this pivotal tagline: "It hurts when it works." In India, it famously became Jalega Toh Chalega, basically meaning, hey, if it burns, that means it's working.
Just think about the psychology behind that for a second. By convincing consumers that true healing actually requires a little bit of pain, Dettol completely flipped the narrative on its head. Their biggest weakness, that painful sting, was instantly transformed into their most unbeatable strength. And at the exact same time, Savlon's biggest advantage, being pain-free, suddenly became a massive liability. Dettol didn't even try to fight Savlon's logic. They just redefined the rules of the game entirely, which let them completely reclaim their market share. Okay, Section 4.
using perceptual maps to visualize this battlefield.
If you plot these two brands on a simple two-axis graph, right? Let's say effectiveness on one axis and gentleness on the other, you can clearly see they aren't actually competing head-to-head. Dettol completely dominates the high effectiveness, low gentleness corner. Savlon, on the other hand, sits over in the moderate effectiveness, high gentleness corner. The real problem for Savlon was that Indian consumers simply valued that effectiveness corner way, way more than the gentleness corner. Dettol owned the exact space that actually mattered.
So here is an absolutely crucial point to take away if you're a student. Perceptual mapping is a mandatory diagnostic tool before you launch any product. It shows you exactly which spaces are occupied, which ones are empty, and most importantly, which spaces consumers actually care about. Honestly, if you're writing an MBA exam answer on positioning, draw a perceptual map. Sketching one of these out will instantly show your professor that you haven't just memorized a textbook definition, but you've actually mastered the strategic concept.
And finally, Section 5, your key exam takeaways.
Here are the 3 essential things you need to lock in. Number 1, positioning is all about perception, not product features. As we just saw, demonstrably better products lose to better positioned brands every single day of the week. Number 2, the best positioning is preemptive. You have to own a word, a feeling, or a sensation in the consumer's mind before anyone else even gets there, just like Dettol owned protection and that sensation of the sting. And number 3, perceptual maps are hands down your best visual tool for diagnosing a market and building a winning strategy.
That officially wraps up our STP trilogy. But before we go, I want you to think about the products sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now. Are you buying them for their objective features, or are you secretly paying for the feeling they give you? It's a fun thought experiment, right? Now, once you know who is in the market, who you're going after, and how you want to live in their mind, how do you actually turn that grand strategy into daily action? Well, join me in our next explainer where we're going to dive into the 4 Ps of marketing and see how the legendary brand Dettol just flawlessly executes them. You definitely won't want to miss it.